Alright, so I got a few questions on my last video about a certain weapon. The Sunken Sword is overall a pretty meh weapon. It's not absolutely insane and its skills aren't anything to lose your mind over. However, it is arguably one of the hardest items to get in Arcane Odyssey. Not because you need to fight a hard boss or do a long quest line or anything actually difficult. The Sunken Sword is a 1 in 8,000 chance in order to fish up the item or even other pieces of the total set, which is funny because you're more likely to be struck by lightning in your lifetime or even to survive a plane crash before you start fishing up this sword. Even with a magnetic collector's rod, this thing is a chore to get. I've played VTex's games a lot, especially World of Magic, considering I had multiple accounts with dozens of hours just grinding out certain builds, which includes a poison magic size build with enough magic size to kill a horse instantaneously. This gave me plenty of free time to waste my life fishing in a Roblox game for a sword. So what about this current build, and why am I even using the Sunken Sword despite it being kind of okay at best? My entire build is built around abusing the living shit out of Frozen. The Sunken Sword naturally applies soaked onto targets, making them much more susceptible to ice magics. Now what if I told you I could apply ice magic that freezes targets onto a weapon that naturally soaks targets? I've essentially created an on-hit Frozen build, which only gets more stupid as you start layering on enchants and armor. Obviously, if you're using any magic, power is extremely helpful, but that's not the enchant my build is centered around. Now you might be saying, but Blaze, Frozen has a high damage status effect that you're applying on hit. Why aren't you building more power to get more out of the status effect? I love intensity in this build. Increases the length of my status effects, works on weapons, and because ice magic already makes a ton of debris, I can completely flood the entire room with ice cubes. I use General Argos's entire set with power enchants, an intensity amulet, and the most important item of them all, a fancy pink sombrero. I also use Commodore Kai's saber and a hard enchanted Ravenna shield. Kai's saber gives really good mobility overall, you know, with having a blink on your offhand whenever you need it, as well as a Ravenna shield that I can enchant with ice to parry away any attacks. This build of course has its ups and downs. Of course, fighting anyone with any source of heat whatsoever kinda just laughs in the face of ice users, so using an on-hit ice build is just kinda brushed off by anybody with something like plasma. Regardless, if you want to copy this build but don't want to suffer through getting a Sunken Sword, you can of course get Sailor Style, a combat art that gives your fists the soak attribute, which allows you to sprint around and throw ice cubes at people's heads. But yeah, shorter video, just wanted to put something out there to answer and respond to some of the questions. More weird stuff soon.
These are some pretty cool bananas.